Check, check, yo. Check, check. Razor.
Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome to the Cannabis Community Project. This is Brainstorm, once again bringing you your weekly podcast from the CCP studios high up in Denver, Colorado. You're exploring the business side of this newly emerging economy, focusing on the patient, the retailer, to the geek in the garage, creating that next innovation in cannabis. This is the first media platform to help fellow cannapreneurs build sustainable businesses.
Skunk Box is a rugged, travel-sized herbal humidor that's water-resistant, odorless, and nearly indestructible. It stores your herbs and restores them too. Order yours online today at skunk-box.com, where you can choose from different models and even customize them to meet your needs.
Hello, cannapreneurs. Welcome to another week of the Cannabis Community Project, putting together shows for you, by you, just hosted by me. Hey, we got another great show lined up for you this week. A lot going on. We have a very cool product. Hydrolock. This is one that I've seen in various forms. After this conversation, you're really going to want to check it out because it's really more than just about cannabis growing, and it's even more than just conservation. We're talking about products popping up that are changing the landscape of farming, changing the landscape of our economy. And Hydrolock is just one of those products that's going to move us one step closer to a new generation, a new society. So listen all the way to the end. Ian and I sit down and we talk about this very interesting white powder that when it makes contact with water, turns it into gel. And then the gel dissipates and evaporates at a very slow rate. So it's very interesting to learn about how water gel is injected into plants, injected into the ground, and how it cuts water costs down by almost 75%. He gives us one of his clients' stories using close to 1 million gallons of water a year. You do the math on that. A water company charging you, I don't know, $1 something every 5-7 gallons or so. It adds up quick. If you could cut that cost down by 75%, it's more than just money. It's more than just the environment. It's a whole new world we're going into. So I had a lot of fun talking with Ian, and we're going to learn all about that. But before we get into that, let's make sure we don't forget about everything we've been learning. Last week's show, what'd you think about that? Was that one interesting also? Well-known guys, Soham and Highest Rewards, Scott, and everybody else that came on board to give us a little segment last week. Let's quickly take a short-term memory flashback relapse with Soham J. Shah from Cannabis Commodities Exchange, talking about updates with the business, how things are moving along, and just to show you in a short amount of time how fast business can change, how things can come about, opportunities and everything else. This is so exciting to be part of it, and I'm even more excited because I got an interview coming up with the great super agent Barry Katz. Thank you, Jay Moore, for that connection. Here we go. Because it's been a few months since we've actually sat down and talked about the business. So I'm just curious to what the update is. Sitting here with Soham J. Shah, 2944 Zunai Street.
Find us on Google if you want.
The CCX, the Skunk Box, Green Consulting.
We went to the ArcView Investor Forum in San Francisco the end of January, where we had the opportunity to pitch to a room full of uncredited investors.
Now, this is the big ArcView that I'm sure everybody's aware of. The emails come to most everybody every month or so. This is where you go and make a Shark Tank-like pitch in front of investors. You show your product or concept.
Yep.
And you offer a percentage in money. And
yeah, it's not exactly like Shark Tank, but yeah, essentially you're pitching your company. You're asking for some type of money, about 12 pitching companies, and then a bunch of other sponsored companies that were also presenting. And it was 2 days. We pitched on the second day, which was reserved for new companies that were pitching for funding. We felt really good about it. We got a lot of good feedback.
In the hallway, as you're drinking coffee and eating donuts, people walk up to you.
Or outside having
say,
a smoke, or whatever it may be. I had people stop me basically before I could give the wireless mic back to the organizers. And then we had different conversations, both with people we had never met before, people who had maybe heard of us, people who hadn't heard of us but were impressed by our pitch. I think ArcV does a really good job of vetting the people that are allowed to come to those events. Everybody that I met there was definitely a valuable person in terms of people that we're actually taking further steps with.
Because what's your title again?
Chief Operating Officer.
So how does the decision in making these types of acceptances of offers work? Do all of you guys have to come to an agreement on this? Is there one of you that actually has the power and gavel to say this is the direction we're going?
No, basically it comes down to a vote, and that's based off of the different stakes that we have in the company.
How do you handle conflict? Is it just simply, well, I have more shares and that's that, or is there a procedure of...
I mean, we've been pretty good at this point to, before something really gets to a vote, we have a thorough enough discussion that we're all on the same page, and the vote is a formality more or less, because we've hashed out the parts that are acceptable, what's not acceptable, what needs to be changed, or whether to move forward or not. And yeah, we have a pretty good review process for that.
Nice. Well, congratulations. That's big news, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. So hopefully we'll be closing some more deals in the coming weeks, and hopefully be looking for a lot more capital later this year as well.
Things are going to move fast. We'll have to make sure to keep on top of it and keep doing updates at a more frequent basis.
Yeah, definitely.
Let people know where you're headed so they can follow you.
Yep, we always love having you down here at the office.
All right, man, I appreciate it. We'll do it again for another update next week.
Sweet. Until next time.
Hey, if you have an idea or some thoughts about business, or maybe you have a business you would like to promote on the show, contact me, brainstorm at cannabiscommunityproject.com. Hey, speaking of being part of the community, sometimes going to events is just one of the best ways to get out there and market yourself and meet people. I had the opportunity to go to a very cool event last week, the Cannabis Consumers Coalition event. They had a number of people down there meeting, mingling, talking, the whole deal. And I went trying to hang out, be a fly on the wall, see what was going on, see if I could record a couple words of people talking. And that's just what I did. Talked to a few patients who were down there as consumers. I got to record a couple individuals that were speaking to the audience or the crowd. David Kowalski of Cannabis Network Radio and a couple other individuals. I think we even had a guy running for mayor and so forth. I would love to just record the whole thing and bring it to you, but unfortunately that would be way too much. So I would encourage you, next time you see an event pop up like this one, the Cannabis Consumers Coalition, or any other event, click the going button and actually go. You would be amazed at who you can meet and how it actually expands the horizons of the industry beyond online. This was a great one, and I want to share it with you. So listen in.
Well, my name's Jim Tarby, originally from southern New Jersey, now from Bennett, Colorado, mainly for the medical marijuana program. I'm disabled. I have a neurological condition called reflex sympathetic dystrophy syndrome. If you've known anyone with MS or fibromyalgia, symptoms are similar. It's a little bit more on the neuropathy side with a lot of surface pain, a lot of muscle spasm, and it's technically not fatal, but the side effects of it are, so it's a technicality in science. rsds.org is their official website. I started using before things got really bad with my disability and I didn't have a connection, so I had to stop for a while, got really bad, started again, got really good, and that's why I'm here. This is one of those things where the doctors look at you and say there is nothing sorry. We can try to give you a medication from the pharmacy for every symptom, which is ridiculous. You'll just be in bed, jacked up on narcotics and benzodiazepines and whatnot, all sorts of off-label uses. Cannabis helps with the pain, it helps a lot with the spasms, and it helps me help myself, more importantly. New Jersey's too expensive. We're talking $400 or $500 a month, ounce a month limit, 3 dispensaries in the whole state, and no edibles, which I need. Nothing but flowers, that's it. Quarter ounce and eighth ounce increments. Yeah, the people are much more understanding of the medical cannabis out here too. It's still an issue out there for some people. I'm sure it is here too, but it's still more understanding. And I use the edibles more for the pain because I need that THC, that concentrated THC in me.
Right.
So that's kind of a cool idea.
Thanks for sharing your story.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
There's one great story. Jim, a very cool patient that I found coming from out of state New Jersey to Colorado. What a common story we are hearing more and more every day. So that was one of a few people I got to talk to. I picked his story because I thought it really just summarized what a patient and consumer all in one. He had a great story. Now I want to move on to the recording I was able to capture from David Kowalski in his speech about the industry. He's a powerful speaker. So listen in. He makes a lot of good points. Regardless of how you might view his style of delivery, he actually has some very good points. So that's why I want to make sure you hear this in full. Here he is, David Kowalski from Cannabis Network Radio, speaking at the Cannabis Consumers Coalition.
My name is David Kowalski. I don't have a history of family crisis or problems or shooting. I have a history of wanting to legalize the plant. We are at a pivotal moment in this cannabis industry right here. Everybody is looking to Colorado for the answers. One thing that's very evident is the people that are giving them the answers are not the people that should be giving them the answers. Now, when it comes to product quality, flower, I don't care what people say, there's a decline in the quality that we produce in a state that should be known for providing the best. The terminology pre-run came because of the lack of quality we have for the original medicine. For the lack of pride we have anymore for growing a flower. We're more concerned about how transparent our extract is. We're more concerned about which closed loop system is the best and which one should be compliant, which one isn't compliant. The fundamental of what we all started in this industry for is no longer there. And at that point, all of us in this room are here to make a difference by being cannabis consumers and businesses. It is our duty to the cannabis industry on a global level to come correct to everything that we do. But we are failing at this. We are failing at this by interfighting. We are failing at this because we think we're better than the next person. We're failing at this because we care about money. Money will come. We all know this from being in the weed industry. We got to put the plant first. By becoming members of the Cannabis Consumers Coalition, this is an organization that's going to influence things like that. It's going to create accountability for product quality, ancillary product quality, growing mediums, dispensaries on a national and global scale. However, it is here in Colorado, the literal mecca of the cannabis industry, that something like this is actually started. There's plenty of other industries out there that claim they're going to be the voice, they're going to be this. You know what? All those people came into this industry after I did. I didn't watch this industry grow from Colorado. I watched it grow from Florida. I did what I did in Florida. I built my network from Florida. Not to make money, but to let my voice be heard. And to be the voice of people who can't be heard. Now I'm in Colorado. Things are changing. I'm changing. Why? Because we need to go ahead and get correct information. Proper information. We need to stop the backstabbing. We need to hold each other accountable. Checks and balances. This is what the Cannabis Consumer Coalition is going to do. Everyone who thinks they're making a difference, you could be. Being an active member of the coalition means you are making a difference. You're influencing change. Your business is influencing change. Your friends are influencing change. Why? Because if I tell you we need to legalize weed or we not do this, I'm preaching to the choir. We all know this. What we need to do is influence the industry. We need to respect ourselves and we need to respect each other. And instead of saying, I do something better, let's say, let me help you so we can do it better together. The Cannabis Consumer Coalition is what that is going to achieve. Unity, whether we like it or not. I would most personally like to see people doing it interactively, I like to see more people in this community getting away from the computer and away from online and attending more events like this and talking to each other face to face. Not making assumptions, not making accusations, not giving accolades that may or may not be deserved until you speak to the individual face to face. Nothing can be resolved, nothing can be achieved, nothing can be accomplished in this industry without unity. So I urge everyone in this room to think twice about why you got started in this, where your root was from in this industry, and why you truly are here now. And then the next thing I want you to do is, even if you're a member, I want you to go sign up. It's $20 to make a difference in this industry that we all know. Thank you all for being here and taking time out of your busy schedule. Hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Thanks to all of our sponsors, and this week we're highlighting Dairy Berry's Recording Studio. Find him at dairyberriesrecordingstudio.com or call Mark at 303-456-8216.
Storm that will swallow the children, and I will deliver them from the kingdom of pain. I will deliver the children back to their doorsteps. I'll send the monsters back to the underground. I'll send them back to a place where no one else can see them, except for me.
I don't like my voice. Weird. Is that everybody? So, I don't know. Your voice is great, man. You know what's funny is you sound 10 times different on the phone than you do on the radio. It's just a different tone. I don't know. Probably quality of mic, obviously, but there's a difference.
Like I sound better on the mic than
you sound better on the mic than you do on the phone. Well, no, you just don't sound like the same guy. Like, there's like...
on the mic, I'm a little artificially animated. But when I'm on the phone, sometimes I fall into this muscle memory.
Right.
I've done so much work on the phone. Sales, telesales. I mean, everything that when I'm on the phone, I kind of fall into like a...
tunnel vision. Yeah,
just like
autopilot.
A speech pattern.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did car sales for a long time, man, and that was the worst.
You know, you sound different to yourself than you do to everyone else because it's
you're inside
vibration.
Yeah.
You're not actually hearing yourself, you're feeling.
And then I hear myself and I'm like, dude, I really sound like this guy right now.
I know.
What?
I hear a recording of me, I'm like,
Oh, yeah. Can you delete that? Yeah, my name is Ian Azam. I'm a co-founder of Hydrolock. You can see me on the Marijuana Show. I'm basically here to talk with here about the cannabis industry, what we feel and what we're seeing and how we feel about it, and just kind of shooting some ideas with each other. And I also want to tell you a little bit more about what Hydrolock is. It's a nanopolymer you put in your soil, contains 1,000 times its weight in water, third generation of its kind. And I'm doing this to promote in the marijuana industry and beyond that, any farming or agriculture endeavor to conserve water and use Hydrolock or nanopolymers in general to help preserve water.
This was some witchcraft. I just
yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, the demo never seems to be dull. That's for sure.
So people can go to Facebook or YouTube and see a video basically showing how the product works.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just quickly describe what you did. Took a bottle of water, standard 16-ounce.
Arrowhead, water.
Arrowhead bottle of water. You dumped in some mysterious-looking white powder.
Yeah, it looks like sugar.
And shook it up. And after, 2-3 minutes, it turned into the stuff I put through my hair.
Complete solid gel, yeah.
It's a complete solid gel. So in my book, that's some magic there.
Absolutely.
So is it a natural substance? What did you put in there?
It's not a natural substance. It is a synthetically made substance.
Yeah.
The molecules that it's made of are natural, of course. It is 100% non-toxic. It's animal safe. It's consumption safe if it happens to be eaten. So it's 100% green, as they call it. It's a great product to have. I mean,
But I couldn't drink this in this form, right?
You could. I mean, I don't think it's not going to hurt you.
Oh, you could drink the gel after?
You sure can. I just don't think that your body will probably like it. You might have, some diarrhea possibly, or it depends how your body digests it, of course.
That might actually be, from a science standpoint, something to look into, because portable gel water might actually be a better ultimate util product in the end for everything from like safety, camping, search and rescue.
Sure.
Boats, because what's the danger with liquid water? If it punctures, you lose it. It may be easily contaminable. Is that the right word?
Contaminates, yeah.
Contaminates, right? Whereas a gel, if a piece gets contaminated, you might be able to just cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
You can squeeze gel into different, I guess water too. Doesn't have the same pressure.
I don't necessarily recommend it as that. Let's kind of stick to the cannabis with it. No.
Well, I don't want to change your business, so why don't we learn about what your business is before I go ahead and change it? I'll change it after you tell me what it is.
Right. So basically, it is again a nanopolymer. But basically, our business is we put the gel into these cartridges that you can actually fit into a cock gun, and you would shoot around the stalk of your plant, about 5 different areas around it. You just fill in that polymer inside of those holes that you would create with the tip that's provided with the cartridge. Depending on how you water your plants, it's going to save you up to 30 to 50%, and even more. I've seen cases of 75%, and that's not obviously with the marijuana plant, but that would be with other plants such as grass and stuff.
So the basic physics, or the idea behind how it's working, is the gel holds the liquid, prevents it from evaporating.
Correct.
As fast as liquid.
Right.
And therefore, over time, it's going to dissipate or whatever.
So,
right?
Yeah, and I'll restate it here. So what happens is what Hydrolock is good for, and what it's meant for, is that you would implement this in your soil medium, right? And this would not allow the water to run through and go through drainage. So it would actually capture that water so it can stay in the soil longer. And, a lot of soil, it's really great for sandy soils because it's a great amender. So
I got it. Sorry to cut you off.
Talk to me. What do you got?
Ideas come.
Let's go. Yeah, let's hear it. This thing it's a platform technology.
Imagine this. The next hurricane, the next dam that breaks. How do you prevent it? Sandbags?
Manitou, I went to Manitou City Council and I came to them with this and I said,
you could gel the river.
Flood mitigation. Implement this in all your flood mitigating channels, all the channels they've made to relieve that flooding from from all the burn scar
like
issues.
A little cyanide packet on the sidewalls of little dams. When something breaks, a little sensor goes off and the packets release in the in little areas where you could gel up a whole.
The only issue is the amount of water a natural disaster like that's going to cause is almost to the point where it would not be financially.
You would have to have truckloads.
And the time, and then the time frame you've got.
It would be equivalent to sandbags.
Yeah, you might as well get the sandbags.
Maybe sandbags full of the powder.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, coming soon.
But isn't that what sand does anyways? Once it hits with water, it turns into a mud gel.
It does. Yeah, it doesn't absorb necessarily. Yeah,
right.
It does cause a structure. Sure.
It barricades more than absorbs. But I guess you're right. If there were a true flood, it would be such a mass amount. All right, sorry.
And so
continue
fast.
With your idea.
Yeah.
With what you were saying.
No, that's fine. Basically, we want to implement it into the world because I think there's an issue that we're all seeing here, and it's water conservation. I think that's where really the root of the evil comes from, and why Hydrolock I think is such a great alternative in today's world is that we really need to watch our water consumption as a nation.
Did you see the article I just came across? The California
NASA. Yeah.
I mean, who knows? This may be a troll by somebody who just happened.
I don't know, man. NASA's pretty credible. I'd say.
But as far as did NASA really say this, or is somebody
Sure.
just trolling the internet with
Sure.
a made up, fabricated headline
Yeah,
that
it's
everybody's
true.
sharing without actually clicking and reading or looking at
Very
the source?
possible. Yeah.
Because I mean, whatever percentage of people just sharing news, they don't actually read what the news is or where it is. But if that is true,
And assuming, hold on, sorry to cut you off, assuming that it is true that NASA is stating that California will not have water in the next year, that's an issue. What do you do then?
well, you head to the hills with your pail of water and you barricade yourself in a cave somewhere.
Martial
and you get
law.
ready for basically chaos.
Sure.
Because water is beyond. I mean, this isn't about the end of oil.
Right.
That's a slow chaos that comes over maybe 10, 15 years of people realizing their whole life is coming to an end.
Right.
Water, we're talking about within weeks.
You'll die.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You're 70% water yourself. Yeah.
what I think is going to happen is people are going to say, well, this is all the more reason why we should tap into glaciers and fresh water sources, which is going to contribute to kind of the breaking up of mass ice forms around the world and
Sure.
Antarctica. And what's going to happen is there's going to be an emergency need to get fresh water.
Agreed.
And I don't think conservation is going to do, I think we're beyond the point of like, hey, let's cut down 20%. Man. We're way past that. We're to the point of death almost.
Sure.
When I was in Mexico about 10 years ago or so now, I was on the border, right where, where Nogales is in Arizona, right on the border.
I'm not familiar with the area, but
The side of the Imperial Valley, California, Arizona, and then the other side's Sonora, Mexico, where all the majority of farming happens.
Okay.
A good large percentage of the farm food we receive in the U.S. comes from that part of Mexico.
Okay.
All their water comes from rainwater. They don't have any natural source of water. It all comes from rainwater and normally coming from north to south. During this time when I was there because there was a book publishing going on talking about the Rio Grande River or the Rio Bravo, depending on which side of the river you're on,
Right.
is completely dry. This was 10 years ago. We were walking through the middle of the river, completely dry. There was a canal that runs along the side of it that is taking the water to other places, but every last drop of the water is accounted for. So there is literally no more free-flowing water coming from the Green River, Colorado River, all the way down to the border of Mexico. This was 10 plus years ago.
Right.
So all of northern Mexico's free rainwater is already taken. They don't get it. So the water that they were getting through rainwater, the Imperial Valley wanted to put concrete walls underneath the ground to prevent drainage and runoff from passing through.
Wow.
This is the desperate situation of water. Both sides of the border that basically grow all of our food, California and and Mexico, are out of water. And this was 10 years ago when I was down there and this was happening. So get your guns, get your bullets, get your freshwater packet pills and stuff.
Get some Hydrolock.
Get some Hydrolock.
That's on hydrationlock.com. Go ahead and click on the store link there. You can purchase as much as you'd like. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, not at all. It's very interesting the way it worked. And if we have to run for the hills, I think having a bottle of gel water might last longer in the elements.
That's true.
I might be the last man on earth all because of your gel water. I'm going to have to be responsible for the repopulation of the earth.
Yeah, exactly.
All because of Hydrolock. Well, speaking of Hydrolock, is this your business? Are you a distributor, retailer, inventor, owner, founder?
So basically, I've met a gentleman about 3 or 4 years ago that this is a byproduct of his company, and he came to me, and I actually reached out to him because I had seen it, and I was asking him questions about it, what he was doing with it, and he mentioned to me the fact he's in the water business. So he goes to these cities around the nation and world, and he sells them products to filter their water for citizens, okay? So he had this byproduct, and I was talking to him about it. He said, Ian, it's really not a big moneymaker for me as comparatively to that water industry. So he said, if you feel like you can make this your own, I'm giving you an opportunity of a lifetime to take it and run with it. And, polymers have been around for a long time. So basically,
What does that mean, polymer? What's, the lexicon, what does that mean? What type of chemical or molecule or what?
so basically polymers, this type of polymer is derived from the plastic industry.
Okay.
So this is, in the 60s, the plastic industry wanted to come out to the world and say, hey, we are not all so toxic and so dangerous. Okay, we can provide polymers that are actually beneficial to culture, firefighting. They use this for pesticides. They use this for an assortment of, like I said, it's a platform technology. So you can use this in many forms and fashions to implement it. But I'm implementing it in water conservation because, well, it does a really good job of absorbing water. So, and like I said, there is a lot of polymers out there. So let's not get mistaken that it's an oil or that it is necessarily a plastic. Like there's a stigma with plastic. Okay,
Right, because as soon as you said that, I all of a sudden got nervous. Like, what? You just told me I could drink it.
Yeah,
What
right.
should I do? Have me a liquid plastic running through my body?
Yeah, and when you start to get around at least agriculture polymers or sodium polyacrylate and polyacrylamide, you'll start to understand that the fact is plastic and this is a complete difference. I mean, you definitely cannot combine the two or tie them together. I would actually say that this is its own separate thing.
But it came from the plastic industry.
Yes, it does.
So this is
derived
old
from there.
technology. This is nothing new.
It looked the idea is old.
Yeah.
The technology has gotten good enough recently to where it's actually now something that is very useful and valuable.
Is this the same thing as those marble-looking plastic things that they sell at garden stores that you put in your planted pot, pour the water in, they fill up like marbles
Yeah.
with balls, and then they slowly release? Or same idea?
It's same idea.
Okay.
Different molecule structure, but a polymer still nonetheless.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's over thousands of different mixtures of polymers. So that's what makes ours so special.
And this is really gelled. The bottom part here is almost.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not
the treatment that I put into that bottle would probably treat 55 pounds of soil, if not more.
Oh, so that's why it was so fast and dramatic in the
Right.
presentation there. Good.
For a good time reference there.
Yeah.
And you can actually add water to it and it'll solidify right up again.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is a good party trick.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's how you can sell it also in the
You know,
dollar
it's-
stores, a party trick.
You know what's funny is they
At
sell
Rock.
magic tricks. You can go buy that and magic stores will have not necessarily my polymer, but they have a
Right.
little similar kind
Yeah.
of demonstration. Yeah.
Well, you got to have multiple streams of
Sure.
revenue, right?
And that reminds me, and that leads me to the next thing that I wanted to kind of talk to you about was using this for fire strategy, and preventing fires is a huge thing in my eyes.
Throwing gel on a fire puts it out faster? Or
You
what?
could put it directly on the fire, or you can they have fire strategic containment stuff. So what they'll do is, if you've ever seen how firefighters work, they'll go around the fire and kind of keep it in a circular area or wherever it is and contain it. This would be wonderfully used for spraying the outside of that line.
Why would it be better than just spraying water directly on a fire?
Because it stays. It's stuck in one area, so it's a polymer.
So it wouldn't evaporate as fast from
Right,
the
'cause
heat,
the
so it
heat-
actually would make contact with a
And
tree
smolder
or
it.
a building or whatever.
Right.
Oh.
And we actually have on our webpage
So you're sitting on top of $1 billion business potentially.
Oh, hugely. Absolutely. Like I said, platform technology, just really the direction that
What type of competition is out there? Is there a lot of people using this stuff or what?
you'd be surprised. There is competition. Is it big? No. Is it big enough for me to know there's a market? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a market for it. I think people are having a huge problem figuring out where it fits
Yeah.
the best.
Right. Well, that's kind of, I guess, your job a little bit
Right.
as the business is to define who you are.
Right.
How are you going to sell it?
Yeah, exactly.
So how are you going to sell it? You're choosing cannabis.
I'm choosing cannabis as a launch board to obviously other things too, but cannabis is a great start because
And it's going to be for watering plants.
Yes.
That's going to be it.
correct.
All right. So you're reaching out to who? Growers then, I guess? Or
Reach out to growers, stores, soil companies, anyone that would think that it fits in their industry or their product.
What's the pitch? Save money, save water,
save time. Save the planet, save water. Yeah, I mean that's a huge thing. Yeah, every drop counts. We're at Hydrolock. We're really committed to water conservation as a whole.
Right.
And anything to do that is really where we come from.
What are some hard numbers on like water conservation? So if we're using gel, how much water are we saving? What the water cycle time being reduced to? Or
so basically what it's going to do, and see, this is where it gets tricky because each grower is different. So basically, here's what I want to get through and across is every grower is different. Uh-huh. How you water is different. Some people microdose, some people flood it, some people don't know what they're doing. So it's really hard for me to give you a specific number of how much water it's going to save you. What I can tell you, though, is it's going to save you a percentage. Right. And what I mean by that is if you microdose, I could save you up to 75%.
Percent of what, my cost? Or
water that you use.
So if I'm using, let's just pick a number, 500 gallons a month.
Right.
I'm going to start using 200.
Well, here's a better example. So I went up to, he uses 1 million gallons of water a year, 30 gallons.
How many plants
a month? Oh, he's probably got over 1,500. Hopefully he doesn't mind me saying that. Maybe more. He's probably got up in the 4,000 or 5,000.
Right. Yeah. So he's got a lot of plants. And he's using 1 million gallons?
He's using 1 million gallons.
And how is the city charging him? By gallon or a flat
No, they
fee?
charge you by 7.5 gallons, a unit of 7.5 gallons. Okay. So 7 gallons and a half. It's pretty cheap. It's like $1 something or some sort. So, but he's still using
That's $1 million some dollars.
Yeah, man, he's going up there.
Of water.
It could be. Yeah, I mean, it's
so his gallon count can be cut down 75% by using gel.
Absolutely.
So you have him as a customer.
I do, and he is he is using it from what I understand and doing tests on it for his own purposes because you kind of have to find your own medium with
this.
Is
he a regular customer or like he just started?
No, this all unraveled with the marijuana show. So it's a new. This is a new, Pete is a new customer of mine.
So let's talk about that. You were on the marijuana show, which is a YouTube-based, right?
Yeah, web-based.
Web-based show of a couple ladies that are investors doing a Shark Tank type. Yep. Actually, it's kind of a combination of Shark Tank combined with Apprentice, right?
Correct.
You got to pitch your product, and then you got to be picked. And then you have to pursue this kind of journey of...
Right, and they take you on a 3-day, kind of seminar thing where they teach you how to pitch and what to ask investors and good questions,
Oh, okay. So it's a learn how to...
Learn and help get you invested in, yeah.
Okay, so I guess it's not really like an apprentice where you're doing activities.
But you are. I mean, we do, and we did in the show. So it is, we did do, we're almost an apprentice style where we did like a game show where, I had to answer a question right, or they would ask us up-to-date laws and how.
How many shows were you on?
With the marijuana show?
Yeah.
I was through the whole thing from start to finish. So from episode 1 all the way up to.
I just watched. I think number 12 the other day.
Right. The that I actually appear in, though, is I think 3. There's 3 of them. So.
You got to edit it out.
No, they don't edit. I think it's just they focus on 2 people at a time and then kind of what their story is, and then they leech on to us. Yeah.
Cool. So you made a pitch there?
I did, yes.
You asked for money or just a pitch to be on the show?
Money. I asked for money and to be on the show.
How much did you ask for?
I asked for $100,000.
For what in exchange?
So in exchange, I was going to give them 30% of the company.
30.
So that's a big chunk. I was being very generous.
What was the response?
It was fantastic. It was a wonderful response, actually.
They said, I'll get my checkbook. Hold on one second.
That didn't happen. No, yeah, that was the funny part about it that I thought was rather interesting. But I also can't speak too much for the future because I'm not sure how the show wants to portray that.
Right. We don't want to create any bad blood, but they didn't give you any money. They didn't give you...
No, I didn't leave with any money, yeah.
But you got to go through the experience and the whole deal.
I loved it. Yeah, it was fun. It was the experience was what made it for me. Is I got to meet some really interesting people, kind of update myself on certain laws or business practices and way to do things.
What was the evaluation on the product? What did they ultimately tell you or say about this product? Did they say yes, it has potential, do this, this, and this? Did they say what?
They're very proactive about it. They really liked the idea. They thought that the idea in Hydrolock stands for something that's good.
Right.
The thing with Hydrolock is it is a very challenging business model because of all the, like I said, platform technology. You can put this in so many things. Where do you start? Where do you make your money at? And I think the cannabis industry, again, follow the money. This is something that we all know. Colorado is in a drought. And
we're a mid-desert climate.
Yeah, so
I guess technically is our climate, which means we don't have a lot of water. We're a mid-desert.
Right.
And we're very dry climates also.
Absolutely.
And water gets absorbed very quickly, and there is a lot of runoff because of the dryness.
Right. Which is ironic that we actually have flooding issues as well.
Yes, as a result of being dry and then being inundated with a flood of water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it creates havoc. I mean, a gel, I guess, rolling down a mountain up the forest.
No, I mean, as far as implementing it in fire or like putting it in a field or a mountainside.
Right. Well, we can start a fire on the table right now.
Let's try it out. You want to see it? What's funny is you can actually turn this into like, what did they use back in like World War II? Napalm?
Oh, where it just kind of sticks and then it keeps burning and sticks to everything.
That was one of the fun tests, as the owner I had to try. I was like, well, let's mix this with some high octane, gasoline and add a little water to it and set it afire and see what happens. And it actually did a wonderful job. And I don't recommend anyone does that with Hydrolock, but it's one of those things that's why I mean to just kind of prove to everyone that it is a platform technology. You can really do a lot with it, and there's a lot of ways you can implement it.
So if this business fails, you can go into the improvised bomb making industry
with my name. I don't know if that'll help too well.
You can just sell Hydrolock to maybe a foreign government or a militia group or somebody else.
No, I don't. I don't need to steer clear of all that. I'm here for good. Yeah, good intentions.
What is your background? Are you coming from business school? What are you coming from?
No, actually.
How long have you been in Hydrolock?
So Hydrolock, I've been doing researching of polymers. I've done for about 5 years. Okay.
And what, like working in a company or?
No, this is personal, like training yourself. I got really hooked on polymers at an earlier age, which is funny.
Statement.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's in diapers, and that's how I first saw it. Was a diaper had ripped open, and there was this stuff in there, and I was like, "What is this? Why does it do that?" And I'd grab a dry one.
It absorbs. Right. It's not just literally sloshing around liquid in there. I never thought about that. I just thought it was a cloth that was
thick. Yeah,
it was a cloth absorbing cotton.
So I saw that and I got real interested. I was like, well, what is this? So I started reading up on it, looking into it, and then I found out a lot about polymers and kind of looked into where does this fit in with what I'm trying to do. Okay?
And what were you doing where the diaper ripped open? Were you?
I was actually with a family member, and she had she had her kid there. Yeah, and it happened. It was actually
somebody else.
Bad story. Okay. Yeah. Besides the fecal matter around the polymers, it was the beauty of the polymer that I saw.
Nice. That's a great description.
But
literal and metaphor. So you have been doing this business for 5 years, or that's the genesis of your kind of interest?
This is like the fruits of my labor, I guess.
Okay.
So I looked into it real hardcore, figured out what do I want to bring to the market.
Well, what were you doing 5 years ago to make money?
I was doing car sales. I was hustling. I come from a family of an immigrant, and my dad is from Israel.
Okay.
Palestine, came over and
definitely don't go into the bomb making business.
No, yeah. See, that's definitely not what I meant to portray at all. Yeah, I don't want to bring that up at all. But he came in from about when he was 17 or 14, I believe. He's taught me a lot about being who you want to be. He's taught me a lot about being who I want to be, how to be that person and pursue it. And he wants me to go to school, but I do this for a personal reason to say, look, in my eyes, guys, I go to a school to pay $100,000 or more to just get certified and go through this grueling process, which is good. Okay, learning is wonderful, but I just don't feel that I need to break the bank to learn. I think knowledge should be something that is implemented freely. Seriously, I mean, who can say that making people pay for knowledge in a society like this? We're upset with how dumb TV is, and we're upset with how dumb everybody is around us. Well, this is the reason, guys. You shouldn't charge for knowledge. Knowledge should be freely given.
Well, I've always said I've always felt the stupidest and been schooled the most on the lots of car salesmen. So I know how much philosophy is flying around the car lot.
Sure, it is. There is. I mean, and that was one thing I learned a lot about car sales is that the art of sales is one thing. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. But
so I'm going to bring you with me next time I buy my car.
Hey, I'll get you the best deal in town, man.
I'll be my agent. So you're just hustling, working through the jobs, kind of beating the streets.
Right.
Got an interest in this, saw there was an opportunity to make a business out of it.
Right.
When did you actually make the transition? Was there a day, a week? Did you make a declaration?
This is what happened to me. It was so odd because, like I said, the person that got me this connection of this polymer, of the producer of this polymer, when I talked to him, it just seemed to be something that had worked. When he called me, or I had called him, coincidentally flying down to Denver the next day. So I said, well, let's get together. Let's talk more. I want to see, how good the product is, from you. And we met with him, hit it off real well, real wealthy guy. And I won't disclose his name for his own private reasons, which I haven't asked him, but nonetheless, he wanted to really kind of mentor me in a sense of, he saw a lot of himself in me, and, kind of wanted to say, I'm going to give you an avenue to make yourself successful. It's up to you to prove it to me. Right. Okay. And he showed me how much he makes off of it, of what I purchase off of him. And he doesn't really make much. I mean, I pay pretty inexpensively to get this.
Yeah.
So I have that advantage. And so, which I know it's not like
for margins and everything.
Yeah. Which helps me out a lot. Yeah.
But what time frame did all that happen in? Was that like in a matter of months?
That was about 2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago. But what was the time?
Unravel.
Oh, so it took 2 years.
Yeah.
To unravel.
It took about 2
to
years
actually
to
get from that point to the next.
To find him and to actually make it connect. That was within, the phone call. 10 minutes. Okay.
Right.
But to get to figure out where I wanted to sit in the market.
Right. Get everything developed and put together.
Right.
So the sale may have happened that first 10-minute phone call, but
right.
Then it took 2 years.
It took 2 years to make that
close that shit and get paid and actually make it work. Yeah.
That's the truth. Well, and that was a big problem, and that's where these cartridges come in handy.
You want to grab that so we can see what it is?
Yeah. Sure. Let me grab that real quick.
Okay. All right, what do you got here? Just turn that towards you. Describe it.
Yeah. So basically, I've got a cartridge here that fits in a cock gun. Okay. This cartridge is really meant for the grower that's on the go. Save him time to get into those plants and be able to, on the site, inject it into the soil or the pot. Well, and here, I guess what I was getting at with this was the cartridge. A big thing that took a long time was figuring out how to sell this.
Right.
So
white powder.
Right. You sell this, well, it's hard to show the value in this. Okay. Right. If I showed someone this and said, hey, use this in your plant, it'll save you 50% water consumption.
Right. That's why a drug dealer has to give it to you for free, because just the bag of white powder itself has no appeal until you actually do it.
And then you realize.
Then you're like, oh, okay.
Right. So what I wanted to do is give my customers something. I wanted them to feel like, hey, if I'm going to spend $5 for this, I want to at least feel like I'm getting something for it.
Right. You got to.
So I've got you something here that is easily implemented into retrofits into a cock cartridge or a tube or gun, and you can shoot this and inject it into the soil on the go. It's heavy. It's in gel form already. It's ready to go. You poke a hole, you put the tip on, and you put it in the gun, and you're ready to go. I want to implement this, and how it works is basically, like I said, you buy the cartridge, you poke a hole through the top, it comes with a tip for you so you can inject it into the soil at a good depth.
So you just walk around your plant?
You do different injection sites near the stock of the actual plant. And it seems to come out of the cartridges very, very exactly how I want, kind of fluffy like gel, which is good because you don't want it too thick of a concentration. I think that leads me to my next point, is that I think polymers are misunderstood a lot in the industry, because here's the number one thing that I get, or complaint that I hear from people, is that, oh, well, don't polymers cause root rot? Well, I guess if you oversaturate your plant and it's sitting in something like this, sure, if your roots are sitting in that much, it's going to be an issue, unless that plant loves oversaturation. The marijuana plant does not. So if you do that, it will kill your plant. So dosage is everything.
But even that, when people do hydroponics, aren't the roots it's submerged in water.
But it's constantly flowing, and then there's times that there's not. It's drained, I believe. So you're
it's
not
the
actually
stagnant water that creates the bacteria and the sitting, the ability for things to grow.
Right.
Sit.
The roots actually release the gas. So if it's sitting in there and that gas is not going anywhere, that's why it's running water. Which leads me to my next point. I know this is a business standpoint radio show, but I just wanted to talk about Fukushima real fast.
Fukushima?
Yeah. The power plant in Japan. Right. It melted down, I think a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay. In my eyes, we should be ashamed of ourselves as people to allow a nuclear meltdown to then cause an action to go towards green energy. What happened was, and why I said that is the fact that in Japan now they have started doing wind farms in the ocean. Well, wind farms have been around for a long time. It's almost insult to injury now to just start doing it. Now that you've polluted the oceans with all your radiation.
It's a pretty serious issue.
It is.
Because it's still burning.
Right.
So the basic physics of what happens when water vaporizes, the hydrogen particles become explosive, right? I mean, this is what you see when you have a hot skillet and you throw water on there. You're watching a bomb,
right,
just on a very small level.
Molecular level, yeah.
The problem is that it's sitting on an island. And there's this thing that's so hot, nothing we have on Earth can put it out. And it's going to touch water, salt water, of all things.
Which is sodium, yeah.
And we don't really know what's going to happen. And nobody really seems to want to talk about it. It's out of sight, out of mind type thing. And the fact that it's in a place where people in their culture don't make a lot of fuss. It's not like Japan's a culture where they're going to be a lot of anarchists and rioting.
Sure.
I mean, they're going to get put. They're a pacifist society, and they're going to get pushed to a point where they're going to have to decide real quick, how much longer they're just going to sit back and allow destruction to happen to them. But this is serious for the world, because when you have something that's so hot, we don't have anything that we know of that can put it out,
right,
and it's getting ready to touch water, which we know is explosive.
Right. There's going to be a problem there. Yeah.
It could raise the temperature of the oceans.
Right. Accelerate that. Yeah.
It could kill off for hundreds of miles every living thing around it and just kill off mass populations of fish and plant life in the ocean.
How about a tsunami? Could cause a big enough explosion to cause a tsunami.
It could cause eternal steam, infinite steam to just shoot up into the atmosphere, because it's too hot to be put out by the ocean, but at the same time it's not really going to explode, but it just causes infinite smoke and steam,
radiation,
to just be shot up.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's going to happen in our lifetime.
And unfortunately, I recommend you don't eat any fresh or any, fish in a long time.
Well, then that's a problem, because they also say don't eat any red meat, don't eat your chickens.
I think the big picture's unraveling here. I think everyone should kind of step back and see, what are we doing in the world, and why are these issues coming up, and how are we going to fix them? I mean, we need those big thinkers in the world. Like you said, the food. I mean, look how much processed food goes through the daily average person. How many people eat McDonald's on the regular? As an average, I'd probably say over 80%.
Poorer people, mostly.
Sure.
I mean, by intention.
And
it's very intentional that mostly poorer people eat these types of shitty foods, from grocery store to restaurant. So it's not like if they went to Walmart, they're all of a sudden going to be getting, some natural and rich type food. Yeah. It's all the same shitty food. It's just now you take it home and make it versus having it preheated for you at a place. I mean, that's a whole huge topic. And that's kind of one of the things, though, that we started off talking about, that my whole platform of this show, it's kind of about cannabis, but it's kind of about a bigger issue. It's kind of about using something like cannabis, something that really allows society to go in a different direction.
Right.
Because now they have something to latch onto. So they can say, well, everybody wants change, but how do you make change? Well, now there's actually something where change can be made.
Right.
Cannabis, all the way from making gels, can create a larger societal gain. Right. I've always said, for farmers and cannabis are going to have to retrain agricultural farmers how to farm. And this idea of open field outside farming is going to have to go away.
Sure.
We're going to have to stop using flood field water techniques.
Right.
And the idea of farming is going to drastically change.
Hugely.
And it has to change for health reasons and for conservation reasons, economic reasons. It has to change. But cannabis can be that product that allows people to say, well, now we actually have a tool.
Right.
How do we actually make farming better? Well, look at what the cannabis growers are doing.
Exactly.
They're efficiently creating high yielding product.
Everyone's watching.
right?
Right.
Retail business. Well, what can we do in small town, dipshit across America? All of our jobs are going away. We don't have any manufacturing jobs. Well, now we can start manufacturing on a local level with cannabis, all the way from hemp, from seeds, oils, textiles, all the way down the line to the thousands of products. So we have a reason. So cannabis is giving people a reason, an excuse, whatever you need. It's giving them something to hold on to and say, well, this is how I can make environmental change by studying cannabis and growing and trying to implement those techniques in the farming. Well, this is how I can be an activist for economic change by promoting factories that allow hemp production and raw product production and textile and fabrication and everything else that comes. Give people jobs, give people opportunities. Well, how? Well, now we have a product. Now we have a product that we can compete with globally, because globally they're not going to be able to catch up to us yet. If we instantly allow cannabis to go legal across the board, we have all these other countries are going to have to figure out what the fuck to do.
Agreed.
And in the meantime, we could create $1 billion of industry just by allowing people to just go out and do what you're doing and what I'm doing and what everybody else is doing. Is just hold something onto it. If I tried to do a radio show about any other topic, it would probably be unsuccessful in the sense of how the momentum it builds and where it goes. But because I'm latching on to cannabis and I'm taking advantage of, first in type advantage, it allows me to say, oh yeah, but it's not just a radio show. Cannabis radio. Oh, it's not even just a cannabis radio show. It's one about business. Absolutely. Right? Constantly narrowing it down, right? And picking what you want. So everybody needs to do that. Everybody just needs to take whatever product you're doing and just make it a cannabis product.
Yeah, why not?
Right?
See how versatile you can make your business,
Right.
And try to dabble in the cannabis industry.
Right now, anybody that can hear me that has a struggling business, take your current product and put the name cannabis in front of it, right?
Well, here's the thing about that. No, yes and no. The cannabis industry is blowing up right now, and I encourage anyone that has a great idea in cannabis to go in. But I don't think you want everybody. I don't think you want Marlboro. I don't think you want Camel or any of the R.J. Reynolds.
I don't want to compete with $1 billion.
No. What I love right now is it's local, man, and it's letting that become organic. See, it would have been too easy for
they're
Walmart
not struggling
to
businesses, though. I said if you have a struggling business.
Sure.
And if you have a struggling business, you're probably a small scale.
Especially restaurants.
If you're R.J. Reynolds, that's not. I mean, yes, they will try to do that, but that's not what we want. I mean, we want the mom and pop who has some business, whatever it is, that's struggling and looking for a market. Because that's ultimately what's going to determine your success is if you can find an audience. I mean, we know there's people out there that would buy a product, whatever product that is.
Absolutely.
Can you find them?
Yeah.
Can they find you?
Yes.
Right? Because if that equation doesn't happen, it doesn't really matter whether your product's relevant, right? It doesn't matter how relevant it is. If nobody can find you and you can't find them, what does it matter?
How do you go off?
Right. So, and I guess that's the bigger challenge.
Getting yourself out there.
How do you do it?
Well, the marijuana show was a blessing. That's a great vehicle. If that gets huge, that's a great vehicle. I think also I do a lot of close relationship, and then I also love to do reaching out to local business owners. I love going to florists. I love going anywhere word of mouth. You know what the best advertising is? Word of mouth.
Yeah.
No advertisement.
It sounds cliche, but
it sounds cliche, but no one's going to listen to an advertisement unless a friend tells them, or or of course they've heard about it before.
Well, advertising, as I tell many people who are wanting to be in business but don't necessarily come from a business background, is when they get into marketing, they want to do a whole bunch of advertising, and I always advise against it because advertising is not a sales tool per se. It's more of a branding tool that kind of supports what people either know about you or gives them some additional piece of information to take immediate action. There's a sale this weekend at the Merchandise Mart. Come on down. Well, it's new information, but I kind of know what the Merchandise Mart is, and I go there anyways. Now they just told me there's a sale. Thank you, advertising.
Yeah.
But if I have no idea what a merchandising mart is, don't know where it is, never bought anything from a merchandising mart in my life,
how do you know?
Hearing there's a sale this weekend isn't going to necessarily move me.
Right.
So I tell people, don't spend your money on advertising. One, it's the most expensive marketing you can do when you're advertising. Buying up media spots, and it's expensive.
It is.
But unless you already have sales in place, what are you supporting? What are you branding?
Right.
A brand doesn't come first. A brand comes after you have a product to stand on. When you have a product, then you build a business, then you build a brand. You don't build a brand and then hope products will come out of that.
Sure.
You build a product. So don't use advertising as a sales tool, and don't use it if you don't have any money. And nobody ever wants to listen to me. Everybody goes out and they spend $500 a month on the Westward and $1,000 a month on a radio spot, and they get nothing.
Right.
Because they only had $3,000 total to spend. If you're going to do advertising, you
got to go
thousands
out.
and thousands.
And that was why I went to the
dollars.
show. You know, that brings back to the show. I went to the show to get that money, to spend a lot of it on that type of.
Well, they were going to advertise you.
On top of that, though.
Right. I mean, that's whatever money you spent getting on that show, I think is a good exchange because it's assumed they have an audience, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't spend any money to get on the show.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Even better.
It was an audition, yeah.
But I mean, it's an audience in the sense of whether it's a market to buy your product or an audience to listen to your show, you got to find people who are relevant.
Sure.
You talked about florists, grow shops.
Very much so, yeah.
Who else?
You've got farmers. You got people that grow sod for grass.
Like injecting it into the sod or what?
No, actually, before they lay the sod, they would actually till hydrolock in, and that that's a well-known technique.
Okay.
That market's alive too. Landscaping is a big one.
Greens takers or landscapers, people who maintain greens and
absolutely groundskeepers is the word. Yeah, and then you also have the whole other market of the fire. Which I've been really trying to get into with Colorado Springs Fire Department. I've got some stuff working with them as well as Manitou Springs.
Right.
Manitou Springs more so on the fact of the flood mitigation, but the part of fire applies to them as well too.
Have you used it on stains? Have you spilled something on a carpet and threw the powder over it and see what happens?
I imagine you could, yeah, but I don't think it'll actually help take out the stain.
When I get stains, I put salt down and then put a towel over the salt, press into it, let it sit. If it's wet, it'll all absorb into the salt and then into the towel. If it's wet, if it's a very absorbent type thing. But we're listing a whole string of possibilities. Is there a narrowing process you feel you need to go to, or are you going to try to market to each one of these individual channels from firefighters all the way down to greenskeepers? Are you going to really try to pursue all of that?
That's a part of the plan. Obviously, you can't. That's why Rome failed, is they spread themselves too thin. I understand that. I'm targeting it in towards agriculture right now at the moment. So that's where I want to focus on, is agriculture and how we can implement that to preserve water, because that is an issue in the country and in the world right now.
So how do you work? Do you have partners? Do you have employees?
Oh, I got a whole team, man. Yeah, I got a lot of people that are in it involuntarily. So we're not necessarily here in it for the money.
What's the ultimate incentive then? A percentage of the company or?
Oh yeah, of course. Obviously, if there's big investments, that's behind closed doors. We have our own process.
But, what's the incentive of the team to volunteer their time? What's the
water conservation?
Family members? Are they friends? Or?
Yeah, they're friends. They're family. Not a lot of family. As far as my friends, I think of them as family. I wouldn't say like my dad's in on it or anything like that. But if my brother needs help and I need some help, sure, he'd love to lend a hand.
So this is full-time gig.
Yeah, full-time gig for me, yeah.
Monday through Monday?
Yeah, Monday through Monday, exactly.
Yeah. And
it's a nonstop.
What an average day like?
We have a lot of calls, emails, people curious about the product.
Do you do that first? Emails?
Of
you
course,
wake up and do emails in the morning?
I go towards my customers first.
You don't find that consumes the most part of your day when you sit down and start digging through emails that 3-4 hours pass by? And
that's why we have people that, I have certain people dedicated just to do that. So.
Okay. So
but I would also help and go and, if people have questions for me or whatever that maybe someone couldn't answer.
Okay. So you go through communications in the morning,
right?
And what?
And then you plan the day out. Basically, who do I need to meet? Who do I need to call? Who do I need to follow up with?
All sales based.
Oh, for me, I'm a big sales and meeting people. And then, I'm also partnering up with Parrot, which is a sensor company. Flower Power, real awesome sensor. You put it in
for
your
pH balance type sensor stuff?
Sensors everything: moisture, temperature, fertilizer, and light intake.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little sensor. You put it right into your soil pot.
A little stick type type thing.
Yeah,
like
and
a
I
turkey
actually
baster kind of.
no, it looks pretty cool. It's
Okay.
actually pretty neat looking. It's a real slick laser fitted
And is it
mold.
like a Wi-Fi device that
Bluetooth.
so it sends information to your phone.
Yeah,
and
via
then you
app
can see moisture
for free.
and pH balance and
Yeah.
the whole rundown.
and it stores the data.
So you're
for you.
teaming up with them for you sell your product and it comes with theirs, or they sell theirs and it comes with yours?
Well, yeah, they're in France right now. So
Okay.
basically, what I've seen in Parrot is that they have an excellent marketing and they have excellent product, and it complements really well with Hydrolock. Here's what I guess I'm doing is I'm partnering the two to say, look, I'll give you a sensor with it to prove that it works.
Okay, so you're using their product as the add-on.
Sure,
and
as a
selling
catalyst to prove that this is a thing and that you shouldn't just throw this out.
Is there
as
any
nothing.
cross going on where when they sell their products, are they adding yours to their sales?
That's in future, yeah.
Okay.
That's future negotiations between them.
So you're going to prove
specifically.
yourself first here with some sales, and then show them that this is a
Absolutely.
worthy product to
Yeah.
work into it.
And you know
That's
those
pretty
things
exciting.
take time to develop, man. Yeah,
That
it's
makes you an international business, I guess. Then,
yeah, Paris, man. They're straight out of France. Yeah,
so they're French, you're Israeli,
Palestinian.
Palestinian.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
don't
either.
mess that up.
Yeah.
And you're doing business in the U.S.
Yeah.
So you're transnational.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and you know, I love that though about that. And like even for instance, the main distributor or chemical company that makes this is in Germany.
Yeah.
I love the Germans. I love everything about their cars, especially
Engineering.
And, yeah.
I mean, ever heard of the flight box, the magic flight box?
No.
It's just a little wooden box like this. You
Uh-huh.
put a little straw in, and then you stick a battery in the side, and it instantly starts vaporizing your flour.
Wow.
So it's
What?
it has a little piece of glass on top that just slides back and forth, and literally just like a plastic straw and a battery you stick right in the side. But it instantly heats up, and it works every time, and it'll last you forever. And it's compact, and it's
That's
cool.
Germans.
And you know, it's just a little vaporizer. Just stick the battery in, boom, heats up, and
It's amazing.
It's about that big, 3 inches or so. Yeah, cars all the way down. And if you need something built, I guess that's where you go to have it designed and built. And
Absolutely.
that's exciting to know that you have the potential for all that growth. Potentially, so many different ways to sell the product. I mean, that's a lot of growth potential. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on how investors look at it, some may say, I
lot
don't know
of-
which
yeah.
one to pick, and we got to pick one. And
Right.
but I guess if somebody wanted to invest in it, they would kind of have an idea already about the market and the product and,
Yeah.
at least the application of it.
And where it goes, yeah, I know
In
how
that
it fits
sense.
the best, yeah.
So tell me once again where people can find out about it.
Yeah, you want to go to hydrationlock.com, and
Okay.
you can go on there. They have studies to show kind of what we do, and then we've got a store on there. You can click tab. We also have Facebook, Instagram. Hit us up on either or with Hydration Lock or Hydrolock hashtag.
And how do you spell hydration? Is that HY?
Yes.
Yeah. HYDR.
DRAGATOION. Yeah.
Okay. That was always a horrible spell.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you coming up here to Denver.
Hey man, I
Colorado
appreciate you.
Springs.
I like what you're doing, man.
This is interesting. I think people are.
What do you think about this, by the way? Before we end this, hold
think
on,
it
wait a
is,
minute. Let's talk a little bit more about what do you think about this, man?
I think I can easily see the application very quickly. I mean, for what you're wanting to use it for, water conservation,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody would not see that.
Sure.
My concerns as an investor would be is the competition, because
Right.
it feels like a product that could be easily obtained kind of openly and
Sure.
bought in big bulk by people, where from an investment standpoint, I would be concerned about how would you actually grow this company.
Right.
From a marketing standpoint, I would say attach yourself to cannabis and just stick with it. And
I'm with it.
Take all that diversity of products, but within cannabis.
Sure.
And wait until you're very big before you venture outside of cannabis. And that way you don't have to worry about the global competition of this petroleum-based product.
Sure.
Is it petroleum-based?
No,
You said
it is
was
not.
a plastic.
No.
So what's the base of it again?
So it's sodium.
So okay,
Yeah.
So this sodium-based product.
Sure.
So plus and minuses. Plus, you could make a lot of money because the application is there. Minus, I think you're going to need a lot of money because of the lack of uniqueness and ability to acquire the raw substance, and then somebody with a bigger budget is just going to outmarket you. And
Sure.
and,
These are all things, and there's things about it that I can't say,
Yeah.
just because of the fact of what it is. But I will tell you that there are things that I have in the industry of polymers that is why I
Gives you an
continue to push for it.
Yeah,
so
gives you an edge, like
right,
cost-wise.
Not just cost-wise, but also the material that it is, and why it's so much better for agriculture uses.
Something more unique to what you're acquiring that others would not acquire, this unique blend or whatever.
Well, there's two types of polymers, and I'm going to break it down for you, and you tell me what you think. I'm not going to give you too much information, but so you have polyacrylate, and then you have polyacrylamide.
I like
one
the way
is
8 sounds.
Yeah, one is toxic and one isn't.
The 8 is not toxic.
Correct.
Yes, I know nothing about science. Just based on pure lexicon of the vocabulary, I was making a judgment call. But I know absolutely nothing about chemicals, physics, biology, any type of sciences.
Right. No,
other than social sciences. So that was just pure luck.
Well, congratulations! If that was it, you'd have been a good tester.
If this were a game show,
yeah. Where are you? Yeah,
a game show. Maybe that could be.
Hey, that's next week.
Cannabis game show.
I totally agree.
I mean, I just read in the paper the other day there's a cannabis-based TV show coming to Denver.
Oh yeah, Wendy and Karen, and on the Marijuana Show, they had a game show, and I thought it was cool as hell, man. I learned a lot about it. It was like an educational.
The lady asking the questions about compliance?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Mean, you learn a lot from it, too, and I think if it's educational and it brings in cannabis, why the hell wouldn't there be something like
50 years of daytime television can't be wrong.
Yeah, no, this is true. I'm with you.
It's captivated generations of women and men. I was a young boy at home watching daytime TV, talk shows, and everything else, and quite captivating.
Price is Right. I love the Price.
All Price is Right. Talk show.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Smoking on the bowl.
Yeah, man. That was a tunnel vision for
Thanks for listening to this week's show. Make sure to come back next week. We're going to have more guests lined up, speaking with dispensary owners, growers, business owners. Make sure to follow us on all of the social media, Facebook, Google+. You can listen to our shows live from the website or your preferred listening platform. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, even YouTube, all under the same name, CannabisCommunityProject.com. We'll see you next week.
I'm on